watching movies and jamming out. KFLX 198.4 Fiction Radio.
Welcome back to KFLX Fiction Radio. This week's episode is for all of you folks who just can't stop loving boy bands. The sun is setting and it's time for an August moon.
That's right. First boy band since the pilot, I guess.
Yeah, since Four Town.
No. First boy band since like a week ago, because we did Josie and the Pussycats.
Well, okay.
It escaped my memory.
That's like a minor boy band. This is
the main deal.
Exactly, yes.
We're talking about The Idea of You, which was like a big movie for Amazon.
It really was, yeah. Set the streaming service on fire in 2024. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Dustin, but is this the first property we're talking about that stems from a novel?
Oh, man. Is it? No. Tender Mercies.
Oh, that was a book
was based
first.
on a book. Yep.
Okay. Still rarefied air.
Yeah, I feel like there are others, but I mean,
Josie and the Pussycats, like you just mentioned, comes from a comic book.
Comes from print media, sure. But like, not the story, not that movie. That movie wasn't based on any comic book.
Very true. Yeah, just the characters are based on the comic.
Yeah, but this one is directly based on a novel. Tender Mercies was based on a novel. Because I remember that being a thing in our whole, like, is Crazy Heart based on Tender Mercies? It's like, no.
Right.
But like the book was mentioned, but not the movie. It was weird, yeah.
Right. I remember that now. The novel has the same name as the movie.
The Idea of You. And the book was written by Robin Lee, an author who is also an actress. She's in a few things.
Does she make a cameo in this movie?
No. In fact, I don't see any roles for her post-2021. She is in 50 Shades Darker, 50 Shades Freed, which are iterations of the 50 Shades series, which I am not really familiar with.
Sure. But, I mean, I can sort of see shades of in this property.
Oh, because it's like steamy?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's pretty steamy. And this is, again, not even related to those creatively, because she acted in those.
Right.
But this is a book she wrote, and the internet, much of the internet has made the claim that it's pretty much like a One Direction Harry Styles fanfic.
I did see that.
She has said in interviews that that's not the case. I think she, at some point, mentioned Harry Styles as an influence for this character.
Sure.
I buy, of course.
Yeah.
British guy, was in a boy band, started his own career. It all makes sense. Like, I wouldn't fault her for it being based on him, but I think she listed him amongst other influences, and the internet ran with it, and they're like, oh, it's just this dirty Harry Styles fanfic. She wants to bone the One Direction guy, blah, blah, blah.
I didn't look into this. Perhaps you know. Was One Direction an audition-based thing like August Moon is?
Oh, I don't know.
That wasn't a thing that I thought to look into for this until we started talking about it right now.
I also didn't think to look into that. Well, I'm going to look it up now, of course.
Yeah, well, as we should.
But I'm putting my money on it. It had to be. Yes.
It was.
They all auditioned for the X Factor.
The Simon Cowell show. Yes, I thought that was right.
They all auditioned for the X Factor. They all failed and were instead put together to form a boy group. So they failed up.
Wow.
Apparently Simon Cowell and Nicole Scherzinger both sort of claim responsibility for putting them together.
All right. Interesting. Did you happen to look into the differences between the book and the film?
No, not really.
I did, and I have a couple of notes about some differences.
Yeah.
So they aged up the character of Hayes.
Aged up?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, boy.
He's 20 in the book, and he's 24 in the film.
Okay.
They also aged up the daughter of Izzy from 12 to 16.
That makes sense, because they make it in the movie like she's a little, past, it's like she's embarrassed. She's a bit embarrassed that she likes August Moon, right?
Yes. I think she says something like, that's so 7th grade.
Yeah.
And the ending, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie and you want to watch it, the ending of the book is on a downbeat. They do not get back together.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, because that's not stupid like the ending of this movie. I'm sorry. It just... The idea of
You?
the idea of a pop star of Harry Styles, essentially, whether it was intended or not, Harry Styles essentially being like, I'll be back in 5 years for you, middle-aged LA lady. Sorry, I don't buy it.
Fair.
I mean, it wouldn't make me suddenly like, oh, this movie is the most important film I've ever seen, but it would change my opinion of it a bit. I thought the ending was pretty weak. For everything, all the depth they actually did get into leading up to that.
Sure.
For like a rom-com, they really do kind of tease at greater parts of the characters.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever. It doesn't matter that much. But when that happened, I was a little bummed.
I would much rather have a realistic ending than a audience-pleasing ending.
That's what I was trying to say, but like in a nicer way. I'm just over here, focusing on the idea of a movie, and when one walks in and sits down in front of me, I have to be confronted with what the movie actually is.
Fair. I will say that Anne Hathaway is one of the most charming performers that we have working today.
Oh, she's great.
Her being in this movie elevated it to a level that didn't fall into like Hallmark feeling stuff.
Yes.
Because the opening setup for this is very Hallmark Channel-like of...
Oh, sure. The guy comes screaming in. I got a work thing came up. I can't take them to Coachella.
But like her solo mission was like, I'm just going off into the woods on my own little camping trip, was like, I honest to God thought she was going to meet the fucking Harry Styles character out in the woods. Like he was going to be lost or whatever and stumble upon her tent. I genuinely thought it was going to be like that sort of Hallmarky.
Oh, pardon me. Don't really know my way around the woods of this country yet.
Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No, you're right. It is elevated in many ways out of the Hallmark territory. Like, just the fact that they're going to Coachella in the beginning and not like Zoom Zoom Fest. Like they could say the real name.
Yeah. With footage from Coachella.
Yeah. They shot at actual Coachella. Yeah. And I get it. I get that there's a place for these things in the world. And yeah, I'm not mad about that at all.
No.
This movie, I mean, I'll tell you right here, a reason I don't want to speak ill of this movie, especially right out the gate, is it was directed by none other than Michael Showalter, who I know, maybe you all out there know, was a member of The State.
Comedic legend.
On MTV, comedic legend. Yeah, The State, Stella.
Wet Hot American Summer.
One of the originators of comedy, kind of as we know it now, amongst a legendary large group of people.
Yeah, hugely influential.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I liked this movie. It's not the kind of movie that I would normally watch.
Sure.
It's not something that any of my friends would suggest for me to view. But I didn't hate watching it. It had some really enjoyable stuff in there. And we'll get to the music, but it had some pretty solid pop tunes in here.
Listen, y'all, we'll get to the music, okay? You guys are always pushing us. Get to the music. This podcast is supposed to be about music. We'll get to the music.
Yeah, we always get there. But it is sort of weird that Michael Showalter is involved with this movie given the comedic background that he has, because this is not a parody of rom-coms. It's like it's like a legitimate rom-com dramedy movie. It's like it doesn't aim to take the piss out of the genre.
It's not funny in overt ways.
No.
Like that. No. They Came Together is the David Wayne.
Yes.
Taking the piss out of the rom-com flick. And I think we just talked about it the other day. It's great.
It's so funny. If you haven't seen that, please, dear God, watch They Came Together. It's Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd in a beautiful parody of rom-coms. It's absolutely wonderful.
And Showalter wrote that.
All of the State people still work together, and it's typically in like a pair fashion.
Yeah. Different pairings over the years.
Uh-huh.
But y'all, if you haven't seen The State, the original.
Oh, God, please
go
watch that, yes.
Steal it online, I think, is what you still have to do.
No, it's on Paramount.
Oh, is it? That's great to know The State is available.
Yes. Anyway, I was curious, how did Michael Showalter become involved with such a property that seemingly doesn't fit his past catalog?
Yeah, I'm curious too.
So I found an interview with IndieWire where he said, quote, "For me, it came as a script. I had not heard about the book. I was sent it as a movie
Okay.
that is in development and Anne Hathaway attached. I read the book subsequently.
Okay, so he was sent the script, because he's also credited as a writer.
Yes.
So what I'm putting together is he punched up later.
Uh-huh.
So Jennifer Westfeldt is the screenwriter then. That's the only other name in the mix that I saw.
Right.
And she is a actress, screenwriter, producer.
So there was one song that is in this movie. I was curious if you picked up on it. And if you didn't, it's fine, because I missed it the first time and I had to go back and look for it because I saw it listed on the soundtrack.
Okay.
But there's a song from Streets of Fire in this movie.
What?
Yeah.
From Streets of Fire?
From Streets of Fire, yeah. Uh-huh.
One of our, just so you guys know, very, very favorite episodes of this show. If you have not listened to Streets of Fire, we'd love it if you did.
Oh, yeah, please do it.
I think we feel like it doesn't get enough love. It'll never get enough love.
Nope.
Because nobody's heard of this movie, but it's a great app.
Watch the movie. Please check out that episode of the podcast.
It's a great movie to see, too.
Yes. Anyway, the song is I Can Dream About You, the Dan Hartman song.
Oh, shit. Where is it in the movie?
It plays in the background of her 40th birthday party in the montage of all of the dudes that she's not interested in, like hitting on her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great. That's a great song.
Oh, I love that song. The music in Streets of Fire is so fantastic.
And the Dan Hartman version is just such a well-produced, like, 80s jam that it transcends even coming from Streets of Fire.
100%.
It's just made for the airwaves.
And speaking of people we've discussed on this show before, Dustin, who co-wrote all of the original songs in this film?
They were all co-written, mostly written by a guy named Savan Kotecha, who we talked about to some length in the Eurovision episode.
Yes. And if you'll remember, listeners, he was nominated for an Academy Award for a song in that movie, Husavik, My Hometown.
That's correct. Yes. He has also written just a whole bunch of other hits and bangers for all kinds of people.
Yes.
Notably for this film, he wrote the song What Makes You Beautiful and the song One Thing, both for One Direction.
He's written songs for basically everybody in pop. Britney Spears, Maroon 5, so many One Direction songs. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah. The Weeknd, he wrote Can't Feel My Face.
Yeah.
Usher, he did DJ Got Us Falling in Love. One More Night for Adam Levine and co.
Which we mentioned in the Eurovision episode of the show.
True. It's an Adam Levine double dip, but I did want to make sure we got his name into this episode as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring him up later again.
Nice. Yeah, this dude has written just a bunch of stuff for a bunch of people. He's got, if I recall, he's part of like the Swedish mafia of songwriters. Like he's not Swedish, but he like hangs with those dudes.
That's true.
And the songs for this movie were recorded in Sweden.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And the vocals were all performed by the actor who plays Hayes, the sort of Harry Styles-like boy band lead singer figure in the film, Nicholas Galatzine.
Nicholas is not the only person that sings on the August Moon songs.
Correct.
Most of the other vocals are provided by Savan, but other background vocals are provided by two more writers for these songs, which we'll touch on in a second.
Yes.
First off, though, did you come across Nicholas's song from 2022 called Comfort?
No.
I need comfort, but I hate being comfortable. I wonder why I hate getting what I want is torture, but I can't seem to shake it off. Shake it off, shake it off. If I could retrace my footsteps to see where I lost my direction.
Interesting. Was that for a thing, or he just decided he was going to make a song?
It's just a one-off song.
Cool. I mean, I'm sure that played into him getting this role.
I bet it did.
Yeah, because this isn't like we'll fudge it kind of thing. You actually have to sing to play this character and be like a beautiful 20-something-ish British dude.
Yeah, I'm sure that the audition process was pretty wide.
Yeah, but he does a great job.
He really does. And he sounds really good. Like he sounds good in that Comfort song. He sounds good in these August Moon songs.
And honestly, his performance in the film is good too.
Yeah.
I believe leave him as, sort of pop star dealing with existential problems.
Yeah.
As he's like midway through that experience.
Yeah, the emotional scenes he really sells.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is the first time that I recall seeing something that he's in. So good job.
Yeah, I don't think I was aware of him before this. I was trying to think before if I've ever seen Anne Hathaway star in something. Like she's in Interstellar. I've seen that.
Oh, man. You haven't seen Devil Wears Prada?
I've not seen Devil Wears Prada.
That's a good movie.
I've not seen...
I mean, she's in Brokeback, but she's not the lead of that.
I've never seen Brokeback.
You've never seen Brokeback?
Nope.
I assume you haven't seen the Princess Diaries?
Yeah, no. Or... She's in Les Mis. Is that the Les Mis that didn't have singing?
No, the one that she's in definitely had singing because Russell Crowe sings in it.
Yeah, and Hugh Jackman is the star. Yeah, I never saw that one either, but I'm a big Les Mis fan, so that would be next on my list.
Oh, yeah, well, you should check that out. Circling back to the other writers of these August Moon songs, new to KFLX is Carl Falk, who has also written a good amount of One Direction songs, like the song Live While We're Young with Savan.
Let's go crazy, crazy, crazy till we see the sun. I know we only met, but let's pretend it's love. And never, never, never stop for anyone. Tonight, let's get some and live while we're young.
That definitely has that One Direction sound too. I feel like what they did is they came along and put like guitar in the boy band sound.
Okay.
A
little bit more rock influence than straight pop influence.
A little bit, yeah. Like it's definitely like buried more in the mix on that one, but there's almost like pop punky, just power chord guitar stuff in there.
Sure. We do have one more writer that was involved with these songs.
Uh-huh.
Their name is Ablin Needler, and you guessed it, worked on a One Direction song with Savan and Carl. Here's Kiss You.
I do really feel like One Direction, the marching order was like, okay, Fall Out Boy, take what they're doing, but like make it a little slicker, like, and make it something 5 dudes could sing.
Sure. Well, I mean, you could say Panic at the Disco as well.
Oh, sure. Same. I mean, at that time, I think those both were very similar acts.
Yes, very similar.
I didn't have this info. I should have looked for it on the other writers, but are they all 3 on every song?
No, they are not on every song. Some of them are just Savan and Carl. Some of them are all 3.
Gotcha. For the most part, except for that one special song, Savan is the through line on all of these, right? He was the one sort of commissioned, I think.
Savan is a co-writer on every song and the soundtrack, to my knowledge.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, like, not that it matters, but you don't distance yourself from the One Direction thing necessarily by hiring the guys who wrote all the One Direction songs.
No.
I mean, the comparisons become more clear in my mind.
Yes. Absolutely they do. Real quick, the other members of August Moon are Simon, played by Victor White, Oliver, played by Raymond Cham Jr., Adrian, played by Jaden Anthony, and Izzy, the daughter's favorite, Rory, played by Dakota Adden.
Yeah.
And look at this, Dustin. We're getting a phone call.
Oh, hey, kind of early. Cool.
You're live on KFLX Fiction Radio. What's your name and from where are you calling?
I'm Wednesday Star from San Francisco, wondering if I can request a song.
Oh, cool. Our first request. So you're a big August Moon fan, huh?
I'm a massive Moonhead. Though I don't understand why people often show me their bare butt when I wear my August Moon merch. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's weird. Like, it happens regularly? Mm-mm. What does the merch say?
I have this one shirt, and I love it. And it says, I'm a mooner, you're a mooner, we're all mooners.
Yeah, I could see how that would lead to issues.
But, I mean, it's everything, though. I can't wear my If You Moon Me, I'll August Moon You hoodie either.
Oh, that one's a little more on the nose. I mean, you know what they say, moon you once.
I'm a fan?
No, shame on you. Moon you twice.
I've seen August Moon way more than twice.
Yeah, that's a shame on me, all right.
Oh, and of course, my Moon Me shirt. On the back, it has all the tour dates for the I've Been Mooned 2024 tour.
Well, you're kind of begging to be mooned with that one.
I I've never heard of mooning.
Oh, being mooned is a new concept to you. Okay, so it's often used as a way to disrespect someone by showing their bare buttocks. It could also be used as a form of amusement.
Ew. Why would someone name something so gross after my favorite artist?
Mooning kind of goes back, like, to the Middle Ages. I mean, it at least goes back to Bart Simpson, which is way before this band.
Right, yeah, it's pretty old.
Okay, so they named this band, my favorite band, after this filthy act?
Well, I mean, it sounds like they might be playing into that a little bit with the merch and the tour name.
Well, I am going to start a petition to change the Oxford Dictionary's meaning of mooning and being mooned to being a super fan of August Moon.
That's going to be a crazy, crazy uphill battle.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Anyway, what song would you like to hear?
Oh, right. Dance Before We Walk. You know, because I love that 80s vibe. They're super hot. It makes me want to groove.
Oh, that's great. See, now I love that song. It might be my favorite song on the whole album. So let's get that rocking and rolling.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
So without further ado, here's Dance Before We Walk as requested by Wednesday Star. And I want to play like a little bit of this instrumental breakdown here because it's a really nice blend of like 80s retro vibes mixed with the modern pop.
Yeah.
It comes in here with like the Coldplay sort of spacey style vocals.
Oh, okay.
And then it, bam, kicks in with this big sexy hook.
Yeah. This is one of those songs, we get them all the time now, where like I'm just sure I could make the perfect comparison to some other song that's in my head, but I could not figure out what it was. I could not find it for the life of me. But it reminds me very much of something.
Well, I like that you say that because I do have something that this song very much reminded me of, and perhaps it will be what you were trying to think of.
Maybe we have the same thing in mind.
It's a little song by the band Walk the Moon called Shut Up and Dance.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, that's totally what I was thinking of. Yeah, Walk the Moon. I could not come up with that band name for the life of me. As far as I know, that is the song they are known for.
To my knowledge as well.
Yeah, they're in that like club of like, where I'm getting out of my comfort zone here for like knowing even what I'm talking about. But like 21 Pilots.
Okay.
That's a thing, right?
Yes, that is that's a real band. They are a thing.
Great. Step one, confirmed, they exist.
Uh-huh.
But like it's that world of like it's not exactly a boy band.
No.
But it's not exactly rock music either. Like there's an artificialness to it. And I'm saying that without condemnation.
Of course.
It's not good, bad, or otherwise. It's just there's a veneer to it that feels different than an organic rock act.
I really think that it's just pop. It's just a pop song. It's just a hooky, catchy pop song.
I guess that's what it is, yeah. But it's a band.
There is a band that is making the sounds, but it is a boy band that is performing it.
There is a band that is making the sounds.
Well, because none of the boy band members are playing music at any point in time outside of Hayes, who occasionally plays an acoustic guitar or a piano.
Okay,
but
yes.
like,
sorry, we're back to the property we're talking about. Yes, that's correct. I was talking about the Walk the Moon stuff. Like, I'm like, those are like real bands.
oh, oh, okay.
But
I'm
the
sorry.
music
I got
feels
confused.
like a pop produced, you know, like it. And I don't know what the story is on any of those. And I always have to check myself here. You know, my favorite band of all time is The Clash, and they were an assembled group based on image and all the reasons you put together a boy band. So, like, again, doesn't make it bad or anything. It's just, it's noticeable to me that those bands have a different, like, slicker sound.
Sure. I would still consider them to be a pop band. I mean, like Maroon 5 is a band, and they have rock influences, for example, but I would consider them a pop band.
Yes, I would agree. They did have a different life as more of a rock band before that. But again, I don't know the story on 21 Pilots or Walk the Moon or whatever. Maybe they did too.
Sure.
I have no idea. I'm saying it here now. I don't know.
I don't know either. But I do know that I do like the song Dance Before We Walk. Mm-hmm. It's one of the catchiest songs on this soundtrack.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
And this is a song that sort of runs through a good majority of the movie because it's the song that you see Hayes sort of struggling to write throughout it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we get a little bit of an acoustic version while he is at the recording studio.
I used to need to catch the beat. Oh. Now I know what to do to keep up. We gonna dance before we walk. Took a shot and I'm putting it right in the pocket. We gonna dance before we walk.
Kind of like the scenes they gave us in the modern Sparkle.
Yeah, very reminiscent of that.
The, like in the studio, work in progress, stripped down version. Yeah, I always like that. I guess it's a bit of a trope. I feel like we've seen it in other things too. But I always like hearing versions of stuff.
Me too. That takes on a whole different life than the sexy pop version, you know?
Yeah, because they do have some more full-on ballad stuff in the movie, too.
They do.
Where, it is the acoustic guitar, it's just produced. But this one, yeah, it's just a totally different take on what ends up being like kind of a more high-velocity song.
Yeah.
Real quick, I do want to get out of the way the titular song, Idea of You.
It's the idea of you I hold on to.
So this is the only song that I can think of that features a guest singer, like a guest lead vocal.
Well, outside of Savan or one of the other writers, yeah.
But where this is a new person fully taking over the vocal space. And this singer is a British artist named Anne Marie. Do you know any Anne Marie, Shawn?
I don't.
Cool. Well, I found a song of hers that I really wanted to play specifically for you based on recent conversations we've had. This is her song that's sort of a celebration of all of the stuff that was popular like when we were in high school, and the song is called 2002.
Dancing on the hood in the middle of the woods of an old Mustang, where we sang songs with all our childhood friends. And it went like this, say, oops, I got 99 problems singing bye, bye, bye. Hold up, if you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time.
Wow.
If you want to go and take a ride with me, hit me, baby, one more time.
God bless.
You got, and there was some more in there, but yeah, you got like a Nelly reference, a Britney Spears reference. There was a Bye Bye Bye. There was a Hold Up.
Well, and then there was also just the inflection in which she was singing was very of that time.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The roller coaster of her vocals was very much that style.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all. It stuck out to me because it was the only song that had guest vocals like that on it, but that weren't background vocals. And I wanted to see what Anne Marie was all about.
Yeah, I had not heard that before. Very fun. Next up, I would like to play the August Moon song of Taste.
'Cause I've been thinking every day. Ooh, you're the highlight, no doubt. Touch me in the moonlight, I'm down. Wavy with the lips on my mouth. You got me loving that taste.
Honestly, this is where I want to bring up a point that we talked about for a minute before the episode today. But this is sort of where you get the feeling that, I don't know, the whole boy band thing doesn't translate as much to the music for me. Because really, it's the one guy doing all the vocal parts, right? The main vocal parts. And then there are like background singers. It's produced more like a solo song.
But if you look at the progression of any boy band, you're going to have that happen.
That's true. And admittedly, I don't know how it went with One Direction. Like, I don't know how Harry Styles emerged as the Timberlake or whatever of that group. But like, this is from their second album. from August Moon's second album.
Yes.
Kotecha has said that this sort of represents a edgier, sexier style, as it's like their first effort after they've become famous.
Uh-huh.
I mean, honestly, to me, again, just to draw the comparison, this hits me in the same way as Watermelon Sugar.
I mean, that's great because to me, it was almost as if Savan was sitting there going, sex and food always hit real hard. What if I took Watermelon Sugar and Cake by the Ocean and combined them to make this song taste?
Oh, wait, what's Cake by the Ocean? Oh, yeah.
By DNCE. This is a Joe Jonas property.
Oh, okay. Another boy band contemporary.
Uh-huh.
So everybody's doing their sex and food thing.
Yeah, they're getting their LL Cool J on. Nobody does sex and food lyrics like LL Cool J.
Still, he can't stop me from having daydreams, tonguing you down with vanilla ice cream.
That was just a quick example of LL Cool J's food and sex lyrics from Hey Lover featuring Boys to Men, and now Harry Styles with Watermelon Sugar.
Watermelon sugar, strawberries on a summer evening.
Yeah, I think your Joe Jonas one's even closer, like tempo-wise, to taste.
So I actually have another Harry Styles song because I feel like As It Was has a little bit of that taste in there as well.
Oh, okay.
In this world, it's just us. It's not the same as it was.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. There was another sort of influence in there too. I wanted to do sort of like a supercut of all of the different pop oohs because like this is like this one has like a really like pronounced ooh in the chorus,
Okay.
I think it really reminds it's striking like a Bruno Mars sort of feel.
Oh yeah, he's in that world too, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, every time I hear that As It Was song, I'm like, that's a good song.
It's a really good song. Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about it now.
It's really pretty.
Taste, I mean, what I think it does share with at least the two food related examples we played is also the like super funky bass, which maybe that's where you're getting the Bruno Mars thing. It's kind of a Mark Ronson thing.
Oh yeah.
To do that sort of really funk influenced pop.
That's fair.
I mean, all good comparisons to be making, I think. I wouldn't be mad if anybody told me something I made sounded like one of those songs or evoked the same feeling as one of those songs. But yeah, you really hit it with the whole food thing.
Yeah.
So, Shawn, you referenced earlier that there is one song on this that features some extra special guest songwriters / producers.
Yeah.
That is the song I Got You.
Yes, the first song that the characters hear from August Moon in the movie. It's the one that the kids all sing along to in the car.
Mm-hmm. It's more on the ballad side of things.
Yeah, it's a little slower.
'Cause you don't need them problems, no, you don't need them likes. Baby, when you feel lonely, girl, I got you. You don't need them comments, no, they none but lies. Baby, no need to worry, girl, I got you. Who got you? I got you.
Shawn, this song kind of reminds me of like a Casey and JoJo or a Boys to Men song. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, well, that's an interesting vibe that you got off of it. But the reason that you may think that is because Babyface is a co-writer of this song.
There it is. Yes, we mentioned there are two additional songwriters / producers on this track. Babyface is one, and another one is Ilya.
Yes. And of course, Savan.
Like we said, Savan Kotecha is on every track on this thing, but this is the only one that features these other two guys.
Yeah. And this is the only one that existed before the movie Like this song had just been kicking around.
Yeah, I read that. That's interesting. I didn't get into the full history contractually of like who had the song, who brought it to who, or anything like that. I don't know if you did.
I didn't, no.
But it kind of explains how other people got involved and how you get someone like Babyface showing up on this. I mean, Babyface is a legendary producer.
Who we just talked about in the Josie and the Pussycats episode. He produced that soundtrack.
Yes, he did.
Now, this song, I Got You, really reminds me not of Boyz II Men or Casey and JoJo, but rather Four Town from Turning Red.
Oh, interesting.
And it's because of what I perceive to be childlike lyrics.
Okay.
And I know that they say shit in this song, so
Yeah.
like that's not very childlike, but you don't need those comments. You don't need those likes, like telling people to, hey, don't worry about that social media. Hey, you don't need that. Is very like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's very affirming.
It's kind of kid-like.
Yeah, which funnily is not what the kids really usually gravitate towards. Like the minute you have like overt like feel-good messaging, usually the kids see through that and they're like,
Sure.
this is not actually what I was into. Which happens with boy bands, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, sure. So the reason that I think that this song sounds so kid-like in its lyrics is because, as you mentioned earlier, how Taste is supposed to be off of August Moon's second album. Mm-hmm. This song is meant to be off of August Moon's first album when they were even younger.
Right.
I think Hayes says that he auditioned to be a part of the boy band at like 17 or whatever. So this is probably their first big song from when they were 17 or 18. So that's a little bit more why it's an innocent sounding song, I think.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Overall, man, I'm super impressed with how they did seem to pay attention to what each song from each stage of the career of this band would sound like.
Savan specifically wanted the journey of August Moon and Hayes' character development to be shown through the music as well. And I think that that's a really cool way to go about doing it.
Yeah, it's very on the head every time. Every time I saw it referenced like what part of the career it was from, I was like, oh, I get that. I get like how they've added more complex instrumentation here, or that, you know, like you said, this song is more innocent. It shows that they worked on it, and I love when that kind of thought is put into fake bands.
Well, and also Savan has such an intimate knowledge of this kind of a thing too, because like he worked with One Direction and other sort of boy bands and pop music artists throughout these stages of their career, so he knows what they're thinking and the things that they're experiencing and all of that stuff, so he can sort of combine all of that knowledge that he has into these songs.
Yeah, definitely.
He did a really great job.
I think so. Last thing I want to say about I Got You is did the intro guitar remind you a little bit of this song?
More than words. That's good.
I mean, it's unfair. Like, I will say this, if you're learning like to play guitar chords, like this is pretty much the first thing you can do.
Right.
Is to play something like this on an acoustic guitar. But few songs in the zeitgeist are so well known for that style of playing.
That's a good pull. I did not have that, but I can hear it. Now, the final song we're going to play on today's show is going to be Guard Down, and this is the first song that August Moon plays at Coachella.
And this is In Universe third album material.
Yes, it is.
You don't want part of the cliche I've turned into. Don't want her to
Now, this is Savan singing right here,
Oh, is it? I didn't catch that.
time of good time.
and that's Nicholas.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they do some back and forth kind of vocal stuff. I didn't even catch that, yeah.
She takes control, but then I give it up to the devil in me, and I let my guard down.
I love that like talking guitar vocal that pumps in there.
Yeah. I mean, I really have one thing to say about this song, Shawn, and that's...
I hope it's the same thing that I have. Yes, I have it. I had that. Yes.
It's wearing its influence on its sleeve for sure. Even the drums,
Oh yeah, big time.
like they've borrowed from Stuart Copeland and old Stingo.
She takes control. Say
Yes. Musically, you fucking nailed it. I had that too. Vocally, specifically the Savan vocals that I was playing,
Yeah.
really sounds like he's trying to mirror our boy Adam Levine.
Oh, okay.
This song in particular has big time Adam Levine vocals. Like, this could be a Maroon 5 song.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I could hear it.
And again, since Savan has worked with Adam Levine in Maroon 5, that's not surprising to me.
Totally. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Levine is a guy that people are told to, sing like him. He knows what he's doing.
Right? Yeah. Oh man, I love that you picked up on the Roxanne part too, though, because I was like, Dustin probably also picked up on this, but just in case,
Dude, the moment here, I'm gonna play the song as we hear it in the film because it does sound a little different to me. Just from that, I got it. Those drums are just so specific to the song Roxanne, and then you get the ska
and the
chords
strumming
coming
of the
in.
guitar
Yeah,
too.
totally.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, that's a super fun one. I think the upbeat songs are pretty fun.
Here's the deal, man. Guard Down, Taste, and Dance Before We Walk, legitimate bangers in my mind. I mean, like, they're really fun pop songs.
I agree.
With this episode coming to a close, Dustin, I feel like I have a good enough bead on what your answer is going to be for this. But if August Moon was a real pop band producing music in our reality, or Hayes Campbell for that matter, would you listen to them?
I think I would secretly, shamefully, definitely listen to some of these more in much the same way that I've listened to One Direction songs.
Right.
And less shamefully, I could get into it as they mature and write new stuff. I'm not ashamed to say that I think all this stuff that Harry Styles has been doing in the past few years is great to my ears.
He's been making some really good stuff.
So yeah, I would definitely. I would check in on them at least and see what they're up to. And you know, like we've talked about throughout this, there are real songwriters behind this, and they are real songwriters behind very similar to this music in the real world, real pop music and real boy band stuff even. I mean, these are the artists who do this. So sure.
Yeah, they got the actual people who helped make this content.
Makes all the difference, man. It really does.
Oh my God, it makes a huge difference.
Anytime we've talked about songs written by just whoever, somebody's brother or, you know, so-and-so who didn't really have any business being there, it just doesn't play the same. You got to get a pop song writer like they did in Streets of Fire.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get what you pay for, and it's grand.
Right. Well, if you get that, you have somebody putting your music in a property, 40 years after the fact, because there's a song from Streets of Fire in this fucking movie.
That's true. Yeah.
I guess we have like sort of another kind of boy band coming up next week with Sing Street. I mean, they're more of like a rock band, but also still like a poppy boy band that plays instruments. I guess a little bit more Beatles boy band, maybe.
A little more Beatles boy band, which, they were the OG boy band for sure. I am excited about the premise and the music from what I've heard.
Yes, I have heard a couple of the songs from the soundtrack, and I'm already pretty jazzed about that. And I believe it takes place in the 80s, and that's my favorite decade, so I'm all about that.
We love covering movies that take place in the 80s almost as much as we love covering movies from the 80s that take place in the 50s.
I feel like we've done more of those, so we got to balance it out.
Indeed.
And if you like balance, dear listeners, please give us a rating and review on whatever platform you're currently listening to this podcast on. And if it happens to be YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe.
You don't know how much it helps us when you click those silly little buttons. It really does. Mm-hmm. And, the drill. Check us out. We're online. Tell your friends, fictionradiopod.com and fictionradiopod@gmail.com.
So stay safe out there, Mooners. We'll see you next week with John Carney's Sing Street.
Watching movies, jamming out. KFLX 198.4 Fiction Radio.